Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is the carrot and the stick. And I think that we tend more often to punish bad behaviors than reward good ones. Big air quotes around good and bad. Maybe we could consider desirable and undesirable, whether it's for ourselves or others. So let's look at how we might be able to employ the carrot rather than the stick and see if that can lead us to more of our desired outcomes. But before we get started, let's take a minute or two to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen just flooding your lungs and flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy throughout your body and being. And as you exhale any tension, any stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, energizing, electrifying, illuminating all your cells, all your molecules, all your electrons, connecting you with the world beyond and lighting you up from the inside out. And as you exhale any remaining stress, tension, negativity, fatigue. And now let's just gently press our palms together. Really softly rub your fingers against your palms. Feel the deliciousness of that sensation, the tickling and the tingling, and that wonderful, wonderful feeling of your fingertips against your palms. And allow yourselves to become present right here, right now, in your physical body. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Great to be here with you. And today's topic is the carrot and the stick. And I guess maybe the topic even beyond that is behavior modification, because, you know, we're often looking to shift our own patterns and our own behaviors, as well as the patterns and behaviors of others. And so when we think of how we go about shifting those patterns and behaviors, we can punish or we can reward and acknowledge. Good morning, Lisa. So good to have you here with us. We're talking about the carrot and the stick. And actually, you know, I think the reason that I came up with this topic today is because of Maggie, actually, because she does this really cute thing where she sort of bonks her head down, and there's like a abruptness about it. She just sort of goes bonk, and it almost looks like she's bowing. So now I'm good girl, Maggie, good girl. So I'm rewarding her. She really likes it when I get all excited, and I'll say to her, bow, Maggie, bow. She's still learning. She hasn't done it from on my hand yet. But when she does it, I just go crazy and say, good girl, Maggie. And I clap and I give her a lot of positive verbal reinforcement. Good girl, Maggie, bow. So she just did it again. Eventually, hopefully I'll get her to do it on screen, because she has all these antics, and I thought it would be cute if she would bow afterwards. So anyway, she's testing me out, but the excited voice and the clapping is a reward for her. She enjoys it. It's the carrot rather than the screaming at her when she bites me. You know, like, I know that screaming at her when she bites me isn't going to be effective, but sometimes I just react because it hurts so bad. Other times I'm able to say no biting, but it's really interesting to see how reward works for getting some desired outcomes. And I'm wondering how, rather than self beat up for ourselves when we don't perform the way we want to, or we would prefer to, rather than beating ourselves up. What would it look like if we looked at the behaviors that were moving us in the direction that we want to go and reward ourselves for that? Good morning, Bernadette. Wonderful to have you here with us. So the carrot and the stick. And I know for myself, historically, I have been much more inclined to employ the stick with myself, to be self-punishing, self-beat up, than I am to give myself rewards, even for things that I've accomplished. Even things that I've accomplished that were really an accomplishment, I haven't really allowed myself the rewards. So Rosalind says, bow, Maggie, so cute. Good morning. Good morning to you, Rosalind. It is really cute when she does it. It's adorable. So hopefully she'll do it, learn to do it, and I'll be able to share that with you guys. Also, she is a really smart bird. Lisa, by the way, says that's called applied behavior analysis with positive reinforcer. That's awesome, Lisa. It sounds like you have studied behavioral psychology. I have to say that's awesome to hear that. And it works, right? Behavioral analysis, I guess that's saying observing what the behavior is and then reinforcing it with some kind of positive something. So the thing about, oh, good morning, Dennis. The thing about so many of our positive reinforcers is that they end up leading to less than desirable behaviors, for ourselves anyway. If we reward a kid with candy, for example, or we reward ourselves with ice cream or chocolate cake or something like that, when we put that in the context of a reward, we're kind of compounding a desire for that could turn into something less than desirable ultimately, right? But I think the clapping and celebrating her, she really likes that. That's Maggie I'm talking about. But anyway, she's a really smart bird, and she outsmarted me. So that's what I'm going to tell you about in a minute. Because I am doing some applied behavioral analysis with her to figure out how to get her to not do certain things and how to get her to do other things. So, oh my gosh, Lisa says, I study avian behavior. That is so awesome. My friend Lara Joseph has the Animal Behavior Center at Indian Creek Zoo in Detroit. That is so cool, Lisa. So I'm now getting more confidence in maybe being able to train her to poop on command, or to poop, like in specific places instead of everywhere, because I'm seeing how quickly she's responding to this whole idea of bowing. Good morning, Isabel. So good to have you here. So anyway, I just want to tell you how Maggie outsmarted me, because if you remember, for months, I was trying to get her to stop eating my plant, this gorgeous night blooming cereus. That's a magnificent and kind of otherworldly plant. And she was enjoying chowing down on this thing and really did a number on it. So the thing is that at one point I switched my thinking from how am I going to stop Maggie from eating the plant to how am I going to protect the plant? And in that moment, when I figured out, oh, I can protect the plant, I saw what had been there all along, is that there were curtains that I had tied back that were exposing the plant. And all I had to do, was untie the curtain and put it in front of the plant, and then she wouldn't be able to get to it. Well, I felt like an idiot and a genius all at once for figuring that out. And then a couple of days ago, I heard Maggie chomping on the plant, and she figured out, because there are two curtains there. She found the space between the two curtains and was able to crawl under there and got to the plant and was chomping on the plant again. So I adjusted the curtain to make it so that she couldn't find that seam to get inside, and now we're back to her leaving the plant alone. But it's so funny. I think, Lisa, I think you may have said to me, "Good girl, Maggie, bow." Good girl, Maggie, bow. She might do it for you. Bow, Maggie. Bow, Maggie. Good girl, Maggie, bow. Good girl, good girl, good girl. Did you see her bow? Wasn't that cute? So a lot of enthusiasm, but she just learned that this morning, just from several repetitions, and because she's smart and she really liked that positive reinforcement, I'm guessing, but it was cute, right? Anyway, so I'm thinking about how to be able to apply that in our own lives as humans, and how we can give ourselves rewards that, good girl, Maggie, bow. Here, sorry, I positive reinforcement, so she really gets it, right? So here, let's see if she'll do it for you again. Maggie, bow. Bow, Maggie. Bow. Go on. Bow, Maggie. Go on. Bow, Maggie. Well, maybe not. Anyway, I'm looking at how we can apply that positive reinforcement to ourselves. Good morning, Christina. So we're talking about the carrot and the stick, and I'm inclined to believe that more often than not, we apply the stick rather than the carrot. And I have been told that birds don't respond so much to negative as to positive reinforcement. So Lisa says you can grow something that's healthy for her and let her chew that. They need mental stimulation. Look into foraging toys. Okay, I will do that. She gets a lot of mental stimulation. She has pretty much run of the house, and she gets into everything and does a lot of destruction. But yeah, I will look into that. I love that idea of foraging toys. Thank you so much, Lisa. So how can we reward ourselves in positive ways that don't end up being negative, like rewarding ourselves with chocolate cake, for instance, might not be the best thing ultimately, or ice cream, or maybe if there's a healthy food that it would be okay if we ate lots of, we might be able to find something like that. Or maybe we can reward ourselves by allowing ourselves a moment of stillness and quiet and a deep, wonderful breath. So Lisa says the foraging toys gives her another option so she doesn't destroy things she shouldn't. I will definitely look into that. I think that's a great idea. And I would love it if she didn't destroy things she shouldn't. Anyway, so what kinds of rewards do you use for yourselves? And do you use more sticks than carrots is what I'm wondering, because it's really easy when we're trying to establish a new behavior to get down on ourselves when we don't fulfill our expectations, or when we backslide, for instance. And I'm wondering how we can actually be conscious of our wins, to be rewarding ourselves for the progress that we're making. First of all, most of us, I'm going to make a generalization here, but I think it's probably true that most of us don't even recognize our progress. It's like I have seen it so many times with clients where where they minimize their gains, they minimize their progress, they just discount that, the self-recognition, as if it would be something that might be damaging to their or it might be feeding their ego, for instance, to recognize and feeding their negative ego. Let's talk about, because we talked about befriending the ego recently, but feeding their negative ego by acknowledging their progress. And I know in work patterns, a lot of people feel like they'll beat themselves up for not doing more to get themselves motivated to do more, rather than maybe finding a way to inspire themselves to do more. So I'm wondering, for you, do you have any tricks for this, to motivate yourself, to inspire yourself, to move into positive reinforcement? So for instance, another kind of positive reinforcement might be, setting yourself up with short work blocks and then taking dance breaks. If you're a person who likes to dance, maybe taking a few minute dance break in between this. You go and you do a concentrated work session for 15 minutes or so, and then take a dance break to reward yourself. And so Christina says, I changed food for experiences now. I'm also counting staying away from untruthful and draining people from my life, and evaluating and celebrating the positives to this. That's awesome. That's awesome. So I'm not sure exactly what you mean by I changed food for experiences now, but maybe you're saying that instead of rewarding yourself with food, you reward yourself with an experience. And also staying away from untruthful and draining people. I think that that's an awesome reward. You're not forcing yourself to engage with people that maybe drain your energy. Good morning, Grace Isis. So good to have you here. We're talking about the carrot and the stick. Yes. So Christina says, I used to use food for rewards. I think that that's not uncommon at all, is to use food for rewards. I mean, we're conditioned to do that from the time that we're children, right? Is you be a good kid and you get candy, or you get ice cream, or you get cake, and all the sweet and sugary things that knock our system out of whack, right? I was definitely a sugar addict. Totally a sugar addict as a kid growing up. Lisa says, whoops, excuse me. Ooh, sorry, maybe it's moving energy. Maybe it's just tired. I apologize. So Lisa says, I use self-care. Awesome. I'll give myself a facial. I go to the beach to ground with sand and sea. That's beautiful. So absolutely, I think that there's a lot of merit to finding rewards that are helpful, and even something as simple as taking a deep breath, or giving yourself a hug, even, or taking a dance break, or maybe jumping up and down, or taking a superhero pose. I have a friend who sort of taught me about the superhero pose thing, and that when you, like, before doing a speaking engagement, for instance, she would do this superhero pose. And when you're in that superhero pose, you kind of feel different. And that's an awesome reward too, is to just say, you know what, you are so wonderful to yourself. And these are also other kinds of rewards, or congratulations, you're doing such a great job. because we get criticized for what we don't do well, or what we don't do enough, or good enough, whatever. And we don't typically get rewarded for the things that we do, or the things that we do well. And I think that that's sort of a pervasive behavior all along the scale of our interaction with ourselves and other people. And what if we gave ourselves more rewards, and like life affirming rewards? I don't know if it would work for you, but maybe even something like being able to take a long drink of water, like that might be something that's a reward. Or to take the time to just presence yourself to your body. Oh my gosh, Lisa says, I like to listen and dance to Carole King's song, Beautiful. I love Carole King. You're making me remember the song Tapestry. Oh my gosh, I love that song. And so much of her music is just so wonderful. And I realized, I love to dance, and I haven't really given myself dance parties. And I have a client who is, she's using a whole new criteria for the clients that she takes on, and that is whether or not they pass the dance test. And I love it. It's like she says, if you make me want to dance, then you're a good fit for me as a client. If you don't make me want to dance, then not, it's we're not matched well. So she actually does this dance thing with her clients. It's awesome. How wonderful is that? And she's in a very serious profession. So to be able to lighten it up and say, hey, you passed the dance test. Let's work together. But how wonderful is that, to be dancing through life, to be dancing through business? Maybe you give yourself a reward of meditation. Maybe I think some simple and immediate rewards can be a wonderful thing too. I mean, I give myself baths. I love a bath, and it's just so therapeutic for me. So that's something that I give myself. And actually, up until this moment, I haven't really characterized it as a reward, but I think going forward, I'm going to. And even when things are tough, even when things are, and maybe especially when things are tough, that you get to reward yourself and give yourself a treat for hanging in there and doing the work, and just maybe sometimes you give yourself a treat for no reason at all, because you're wonderful, right? And what a nice gift to give yourself. So Christina says, I have a lot of clients in healthcare, and I use dancing a lot to help with some of the stress for a moment. I think that's brilliant. I really do. Some of the people in healthcare are the most stressed people on the planet, and anything that they can do to do self-care, they're so busy caring for other people that they often neglect themselves. I think that's probably the case for lots of healer people, is that we are so busy taking care of others that we don't give ourselves the self-care that we need, the rewards that we need, the positive reinforcement. And Lisa says, I'm somebody who wishes it was normal to sing like in a Broadway show. My guides communicate lyrics to me all the time. That is so much fun, Lisa. Why not? Just break out into song. I love it. I sing to, I grew up being encouraged not to sing. And so but I still, in privacy with my animal friends, I sing to them, and I sing a lot. And it's not like a Broadway show by any stretch of the imagination, but it's fun, and it's a way to just be playful and to experience some joy, right? I think I would love you to just feel free to just break out in song. Why not? I think it's brilliant. And good afternoon, Pat. So good to have you here with us. So we're talking about the carrot and the stick and how we get to reward positive behaviors in ourselves and in others, in ways that are life affirming and nurturing and nourishing, rather than, for instance, the candy or cake or ice cream as a kid. Although I loved all that, I when I needed to self care or self heal, I would often overindulge in those things, trying to find comfort. But if I gave myself healthy reinforcing behaviors, that would be a whole different thing, right? Like taking a deep breath, like meditating. So Lisa says mine was pizza. Pizza's awesome. And I can see where it could start as a positive reinforcement and then end up not being all that positive after a point. You know, I think that there's little harm that could come from overdoing breath work, for instance, or overdoing some healthy self-care. Maybe even going for a walk or dancing, as we've said, or some things that that get us to be more active and more vitally connected to our body and being. But I do love pizza, Lisa. I have to say, since I have gone gluten-free, which has been years now, that's the one thing that I miss more than pretty much anything. Although there are some really good gluten-free alternatives now to gluten pizza, but it's just not quite the same. So Lisa says it's considered an adversive. So I'm guessing an adversive is something that is an intended positive behavior that ends up having an adverse effect. I'm guessing that's what it means. Maybe you can clarify. We're getting behavioral psychology lesson today. I love it. I'm so into it. I studied NLP and hypnosis, and the work that I do is very much about shifting behavior, but rather than from the behavioral place, it's shifting it from the internal beingness place. And when that shift of being shifts, the behavior shifts without effort. It just is different because you're different. So, but I am very curious about behavioral psychology and conditioning. And it's interesting as I think of that. I want to share. I have a cat, and her name is Jewel, and I adore her. And Jewel is going to be 16 on her birthday this year. I think I'm pretty sure it's 16, and she goes through periods where she doesn't eat. And what I've noticed is that the more loving up she gets, the better she eats. And I've just sort of put that together relatively recently. And we have petting sessions where I just love her up. She likes to go out in the hall, go up the steps, sit on the landing, lay there and get loved. And we do that multiple times a day. And I noticed that when I do that with her, she eats much better. It's so interesting. So I don't know if I'm guessing it's some kind of hormonal thing that, and maybe relaxation, feeling of safety. I just think that to me is such evidence that that nurturing is life affirming, obviously. I mean, we know this, but to see it so blatantly, obviously, that she throws up less, that she eats better, that, everything works better for her when she has all that love. Plus, it's also a testimony to the power of love. So Christina says, I do a lot of perspective shifts to help people with behavioral shifts. Lots of NLP help there. Absolutely. So reframing or creating a new context for something, by doing that, perspective shifts, it changes the experience of reality. And as a result, behaviors can change very easily too with that. It's brilliant. NLP is such awesome stuff, really, really powerful. It's kind of the foundation of the work that I do, but rather than directed by the practitioner, with me being the practitioner trying to determine what the best NLP direction is to go with somebody, it's a more client-directed experience, and it's also an experience that reaches into their psyche pretty deeply, because they're creating all the representations of whatever it is that is arising. And then the other part of it is the allowing whatever it is that's there to be, and in the process of its being, things shift and change. It's really, really cool. So Lisa says, I do better when I know I'm loved too. You know what? Isn't that a universal, Lisa? 100%. Like when we know that somebody's hostile to us, it's hard to show up as our best and most generous selves, right? And when someone loves us, we're able to open our hearts and be more authentic and be more present and be more generous and trusting and loving. And it just makes so much sense, right? But we don't always connect those dots. It's really challenging to be loving towards somebody that's all bristly, right? And when we're not feeling loved, we might feel bristly. So yeah, it's a wonderful puzzle to be looking at how we can better embrace reinforcing patterns or reinforcing tools, rewards, behaviors that support us in our desired outcomes. So Christina says, thanks, Mira. Just a joy to join you this morning. Have to get the dog from the groomer. We're getting ready to road trip later this week. Oh, and I have to get her ready, LOL. That's awesome. Well, have a wonderful, wonderful trip. We're just wrapping up right now, Christina, but I wish you a joy in that trip, and for your dog too. So anyway, that's it for this morning. I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern here on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page. And please, please check out the other wonderful programming on Enlightened World Network, Enlightened World Living, and EWN One with the Earth. And until next time, find more carrots, right? Let's eat carrots. So Lisa says, to quote Lara Joseph, when we know better, we do better. And what a wonderful way to wrap up the morning. So let's know better for ourselves and for others. So much